What knowledge do you have about education? They will tell you it's about finding work, becoming a productive citizen, and pushing your family out of poverty. Are you curious on what it's about? Or what do you notice? Welcome to the Financial Flow. Please like and subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay up on our latest videos. A scholarship assistance totals $144,000 in college tuition, $47,000 in on-campus housing, and an additional $7,000 in textbooks and college supplies. We anticipate a total revenue of $159,340 over the next 4 years. That is the cost of one American attending a reputable college. This student's parents, you see, cannot afford $160,000 in college tuition. They will require a student loan. Prior to COVID, that debt would have yielded 5% per year for the next 10 years. It also amounts to an additional $43,000 in pure interest from a single student. That means a student's lifetime value could be $200,000 or higher. Over 44 million Americans owe $1.6 trillion in student debt. That's correct. That is the size of the entire Canadian economy, and it is for this reason that higher education exists. Education isn't about gearing you for life. It's about making profit off of you. The educational industrial complex has evolved into a highly profitable business for those at the top of the economic chain. Anyone who disagrees is either in agreement with the system or simply ignorant. Fortunately, college is no longer the only way to make money. People are realizing that all they need to earn profit is an internet connection and an interest in learning new skills. By the mid-1960s, the federal government had spent so much money on student loans that the federal spending limit had exceeded. Nonetheless, President Johnson wanted to keep expanding the program. However, Congress became concerned about this. The funds were all leaving, with repayments not starting for at least 4 years. It started slowly and gradually over many years. As a result, he devised a workaround. He turned to the banks for help. Doing so, he created one of the most heinous traps in the world. Congress passed the Higher Education Act in 1965. It laid the groundwork for today's system, in which poor students receive scholarships and grants, and middle-class students receive guaranteed loans. To that end, they established a guarantee agency to ensure that banks continued to make loans. Banks and lending institutions would distribute loans as usual. In turn, the government would give the guarantee agency 80% of the student's borrowed funds. If the student falls behind on payments, the guarantee agency will fully reimburse them for the money they lost and the interest they would have earned. The center rate for repaying a student loan was at 6%, so the government paid the rate to the banks, while the students were studying and not working. The students would be responsible for repaying the debt 9 months after graduation. In Johnson's opinion, was the ideal system. College graduates would earn excellent degrees, find high-paying jobs, and easily repay their debts, allowing more people to obtain loans sooner. At least, that was the plan. As you can see, this created a very profitable feedback loop for schools. Thousands of people who could never been able to study before suddenly decided to attend college. In other words, demand for college degrees. Institutions simply raised their tuition rates. Colleges now wield considerable power. The government had bite more than what it could chew. It demonstrated how badly America desired to be known as the most educated nation on earth. As a result, colleges knew they could always raise their prices because the government would always subsidize the funds. The government didn't care how much it cost because it wasn't their money. Parents and students didn't mind because there was already a student loan program in place and colleges followed suit. College tuition rose 30% above inflation in the 1960s, worsening the negative feedback loop. Colleges grew into massive institutions with multiple campuses and hundreds of well-paid professors, as a result of the freedom to charge whatever tuition rate they wanted. In 1969, tuition at a private college was around $1,500 per year. A decade later, it had more than doubled. The government did not want to lose its education momentum, but banks had to run out of funds to offer students. By 1975, there were so many college students competing for the same jobs that thousands of students defaulted on their loans. They were unable to find work that paid enough to repay their loans. To make matters worse, The Clinton administration offered government-backed federal student loans. They were cheaper than any bank could offer, and seemed destined for obsolescence. But when Republicans took power in 1994, they began the process of privatizing the company, transforming it into a corporation. It no longer required government approval for anything. Instead, it could borrow from stockholders and provide much larger student loans. The student loan trap, as we know it, managed to reach its conclusion. Universities had realized a fundamental truth. Control prices, or get the government to subsidize it, if you want to charge more money. The combination of private government and student loans meant that the sky's the limit for academic institutions. A year's tuition in the year 2000s was around $20,000, representing a 13 times increase, in exchange for recommending them as the best lending institution. College call centers would trick students into thinking they were speaking with a student consultant. The federal government couldn't keep up with their sponsorship of cruises and luxury trips for college financial advisors. In 2007, the federal loan program had managed to lose 40% of its own market share in student loans. To promote the idea that success tends to start with a college degree. With this, when Obama was elected president in 2009, one of his solutions to the financial crisis was to make America's workforce the most educated in the planet, which significantly inspired companies like Sallie Mae. He pushed every American to pursue higher education, even if it is only for a year with Sallie Mae, only requiring 12 months to enslave its students. Student debt had surpassed $1 trillion by 2012. Obama tried to make things easier by capping student loan payments at 15% of the borrower's income. This only encouraged students to go into debt and academic institutions to raise their prices. The longer students took to repay their loans, the more interest Sallie Mae earned. It was no longer a competition among universities to see who could provide the quality education. It was now a competition to see who could provide the most education. Who had the largest campus that can house students? Who had the most useless degrees to choose from? Who had the leading sports teams? Who had the best recreational activities? And who had the best amenities? But in university education, the entire American culture supports them. They even have your parents on their side. What began as a campaign to make higher education more affordable has resulted in a price increase of 3,000% and a generation of debt slaves. The education industrial complex benefits universities, politicians, and bankers the most. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Have a good one.